Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. The Senate under fire once again from some sectors, this time for voting to archive the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte. The move follows a Supreme Court ruling that declared the complaint as unconstitutional. But critics say the decision, or the Senate's decision, was rushed, premature, and a troubling sign of its failure to assert independence as a co-equal branch of government. Let's get on point with Senator JV Ejercito. Senator JV, welcome to the show.
Hi, Vicky. Nice to be
sa oras.
back in on point.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I was watching the voting in the middle of the newscast actually. Nagulat ako pagkita ko, kasi syempre nag-newscast ka, pasensya na, pero ito yung totoo. Tapos pag hindi ko turn, nanonood ako sa YouTube namin nung proceedings live, no? And then nakita ko na lang biglang nag-escudero. So I actually did not see you. I wondered if I was saying the news, kaya hindi kita nakita. And then I realized that you voted without explaining your vote. So you voted yes?
Yes, I voted yes because I agree to abide by the decision of the Supreme Court because it's the lawful course of action to take, no, by the Senate. And as Pinky, we have to respect the mandate of the Supreme Court as a co-equal branch of government, and we have to accept also that it's not only the courtesy, but that there is what they call checks and balances in the government still exist, no, by respecting the decision of the court.
Why did you choose not to explain your vote in the Senate?
Well, you know, Pinky, as I mentioned before, I've always regarded the impeachment. An impeachment proceeding is really politically charged, no? It's really divisive. And I even said that, you know, even though I'm not in favor of it, it's our duty or it's our task to hear it, no? But again, I will go back that it's really divisive until this time. So I would just, during the voting, I just said that, you know, I would just cast my vote without explaining. I didn't want to rub it further, no? Because it will just cause further division. So
dun
I just
sa
voted
lahat sa
quietly.
inyo, ikaw lang ang hindi nag-explain. Tama ba?
No, ang Senator, of course, Senator Lito Lapid, Bamakino also. But in the end,
No, si Senator Lito Lapid, I heard him say 2 lines.
Yes.
Parang, bilang respeto sa Korte Suprema, I vote yes. Something to that
I
effect.
just said that.
Okay.
But Senator Bamakino also and I, at the end of the voting, we said that we will just insert into the records our explanation of vote. So parang ano lang, for me to just to ease the tension, you know, because it's already too much friction, too hot. So I would just insert in the records the explanation of votes.
What do you say to those who could probably say you abandoned your duty in the Senate to try and decide all impeachment cases? The Senate shall try and decide all impeachment cases.
Well, actually, we were, as mentioned, Pink, you know, we may or may not agree with the impeachment, but it is our duty, no, to hear it, no, according to the Constitution. But when the Supreme Court ruled that the Senate had no jurisdiction, it was we felt that it was archiving of the case. Ito po yung naging decision namin. Archiving of the case became the logical consequence of adhering to the Supreme Court's decision. So, archiving does not mean that...
anong ibig sabihin ng archiving?
Well, archiving does not mean that it will be dismissed, no? Kasi yung motion of Senator Marcoleta was
To dismiss.
to dismiss. So, outright dismissal, kumbaga, we're throwing already the case, no? Out, no? But by archiving it, it can be revived by the Senate in case, ito po yun, no? We read naman the rules of the Senate, that in case the court so decides to reverse its decision, at least the Senate can now revive it, no, if they choose to do so, and bring it back to the order of business.
Okay. And paano mangyayari yon? In the event, for example, that there's a change of mind or reconsideration by the Supreme Court, does someone have to manifest, put out a motion, and bobotohan by ito?
From what I know, it will take just, I think, 5 senators, or someone will just make a motion, and it will be voted upon. If the majority will vote, then it will be brought back to the order of business.
Pero kailangan ng simple majority, meaning 13 votes?
Oh yes, we have to vote
ganun
for
pa
it.
rin, yeah.
Yes.
Just very quickly, because you mentioned it was archived and not dismissed as earlier planned or
Yes.
manifested by Senator Rodante Marcoleta. Sabi niya kasi motion to dismiss.
Yes.
Tapos nagsalita si Senator Zubiri and then Senator Alan Peter Cayetano dahil Senator Ping Lacson said nowhere in the rules do I see a motion to dismiss. It just doesn't, it's not part of the rules. Kaya nagkaroon ng amendment from dismiss to archive. You're saying that a while ago that that was the right thing to do because there is a way na kaya pang buhayin yon.
Well, because yung ginagawa kasing issue, no, na we should have waited for kasi meron daw motion to
For reconsideration.
filed in the Supreme Court. Sabi nila, hintayin na lang natin. Why are we in a rush? Pinky, nalilito na rin ako kasi nung a few months ago, sabi, bakit nyo dinedelay? Ngayon naman, bakit nyo minamadali? So, cut the long story short, there's a motion for reconsideration filed in the Supreme Court. So, I think it's the most logical consequence na, as I mentioned earlier, archiving it, because in case the Supreme Court reverses its earlier decision, then we can easily bring it back to the floor and bring it back to the order of business.
Just quick follow-up on that. Senator Ping Lacson decided to vote, yung vote niya is abstain. Sabi niya, ang kanyang explanation somehow was, hihintayin ko muna yung magiging final decision ng Korte Suprema. Did you consider that to abstain or talagang your vote was yes to follow the order of the Supreme Court?
Biggie, yes, I would want to follow the Supreme Court's decision, no? Because I was just worried that by not upholding the decision of the court, it might trigger a constitutional crisis. No? Kasi co-equal branch, that's how our government.
Inutos ng Korte Suprema.
The executive implements, the legislative makes the laws, the executive implements, and the judiciary interprets. So, we just have to respect, not only as a courtesy, I think it's accepting the fact that there is really checks and balances within the government.
Obviously, there will be a sector happy with those who voted yes, and there's also a sector very unhappy with the vote of yes.
It's really divisive, Pinky. Rather, whatever you say, impeachment, it's really politically charged, and I think it is more political than legal. So, as
Sabi nga
always.
nila, it's political, but also may legal implications. There, of course, the House of Representatives, members of the House of Representatives, some of them quite unhappy, of course, with the yes vote. Let's listen to how they call the Senate.
Kailangan i-rethink ang naging Supreme Court decision. Kailangan din i-rethink ng mga senaduwag yung kanilang pagtatago ng desisyon in relation sa paano ihaharapin ni Sara Duterte yung mga hinaing ng taong bayan sa kanya.
Ang sabi yata, senaduwag. Was what she said, senaduwag.
Well, I think we
react to
should,
that?
the House members should adhere also to parliamentary courtesy. No? That's not proper anymore. I think they have, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's the most logical thing for us to do, no? Yung just to archive, because it can be revived. Hindi naman po talaga outright dismissal. I just do not understand, or probably they refuse to understand kasi mawawalan sila battle cry, no? Probably. Maybe some just refuse to understand. But I think between outright dismissal and archiving, there's a world of difference.
Okay.
By dismissing it, it cannot be revived anymore. But archiving it, it can be brought back to the floor in case the Supreme Court changes its decision.
Brought back to life, kumbaga.
Brought back to life, yes.
But Senator, are you worried? Sabi mo nga, and it's even in the past, because you were using the word divisive, it's something you've told me also, napaka-divisive itong impeachment na to. Are you readying yourself to a possible round 2 in February when sabihin po natin the Supreme Court stands by its earlier decision, and then sabi nga, the next impeachment complaint can be filed Feb 6,
yes.
2026.
Well, if that happens, Pinky, then as long as they follow the procedures, as long as there's no violation committed, then again, sabi ko, whether I am in favor or not of the impeachment, because as I always view it as divisive, we have no choice, but we have to perform our duties.
Okay.
No, to hear the case and to stand as a jury in the impeachment court.
One last question. There's a common theme or common words that come out. I've also discussed this for many, many weeks. I might miss some words. You can chime in. Accountability, rule of law, anti-Duterte, 2028 presidential elections, revenge, confidential funds. For you, if you were to maybe describe this impeachment complaint or what happened, how would you describe it?
Well, it's a concoction or a mixture of everything, no? I think there are legal issues about it, no? Yung pong mga issues that are being brought up na, well, of course, accountability is very important, no? Yung pong confidential funds. But whether we like it or not, Pinky, there's still some political
Nature.
It's still political in nature, no? And we know for a fact that, yung frustration ko nga, Pinky, one of my frustration is that, we have so many things that we have to do. I always talk about my advocacies on infra and healthcare. And these things have to take a backseat. And every time there's a squabble or any politically charged activity like this, of course, parang I envy other ASEAN nations, no? Not only Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, but even Vietnam. Parang they're doing all the right things, and while we are here we are fighting. Napaagay away. I would say that, had it happened sana 1 year before, kung 2027, okay lang.
Napaaga ang away ng unit team.
Yeah, ng unit team. God, I wasn't part of it. At least hindi ako part nun. But we could have had 5 years of productive things to do so that, we can stimulate the economy and play catch up to our ASEAN neighbors. So napaaga, sad to say that parang less than 2 years, no? Nagsimula na with the People's Initiative, with the impeachment, nag-away na yung mga with the Duterte, Kibuloy.
Magkaaway ba ang Senado at Kongreso?
Well, I think it started with the People's Initiative. We didn't agree on the onset, no? On the People's Initiative. So I think yun po yung simula. And then nagsimula na with the other political figures, no? Okay. That started.
We're going to talk about other issues. Of course, your priority bills. Definitely, you filed a supplemental budget
Yes.
dito po sa PhilHealth. Something that needs to be talked about, especially because the President, during his State of the Nation address, had talked about a zero billing in, let's be clear about this, DOH-accredited hospitals.
Yes.
So you're seeking a 74.4 billion supplemental budget, but we need to take a very short break. We're going to be right back. Please stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Still with us, Senator JV Ejercito. Okay, ito, very important. So it's a supplemental budget of 74.4 billion pesos. that what? Kailangan ho ba ng approval of both houses of Congress? How does this work?
Yes, definitely. It's a bill. So before it gets passed, of course, it needs the approval of both the House of Representatives and the Senate.
Okay.
Ano to Pinky, well, it's, sabi ko, shot in the dark, hopefully, suntok sa buwan, pero kung sakali. But I think it will be in line with the directive of the President last SONA that DOH hospitals should now be zero balance billing. Actually, Pinky, being the sponsor and author of the Universal Healthcare, our aim is really to lower the out-of-pocket expense of every Filipino. Na at least kung may ma-hospital ka, at least nararamdaman ng pamilya na nandiyan yung PhilHealth. Bawa, 100,000 yung bill mo. Kung ang PhilHealth sinagot 30,000, 40,000, you feel good
Oo,
di ba?
kahit papaano.
Kahit papaano, di ba? Nandun yung gobyerno. And yung zero balance billing, just to explain it briefly, target natin for indigents, PWDs, and senior citizens. So ito po yung mga indirect contributors na walang capacity talaga magbayad. Zero balance billing, meaning that in case they get hospitalized, when they use the ward, kasi ward, syempre, usually sa ward talaga yung wala ibabayad, wala silang babayaran.
Correct.
Zero balance billing. No? It's a tall order, it's an ambitious measure, but, you know, Pinky, kung gusto talaga, may paraan and I would say that some provinces right now are implementing already zero balance billing, no? Yung po sa Quezon, si Governor Helen Tan, who was my partner in the passage of Universal Healthcare.
Sa lower house.
Siya yung...
Tawag ba doon?
Tawag doon, counterpart.
Counterpart in the lower house,
So they're now, they are now implementing zero balance billing for their constituents.
But again, let's be clear, it's DOH accredited hospitals.
Yes.
Kasi ang lumalabas na story ngayon, napupuno na, o puno na rather, Hospital ng Muntinlupa and PGH, and NKTI. But they say that possibly it's because of what the President mentioned during the SONA, that's one. And because dahil nga sa nagdaang bagyo at habagat, leptospirosis. So yun ang nangyari.
Well, that's why, Pinky, sabi ko, kahit nasuntok sa buwan to, I think, you know, when the President speaks, that is already a policy, no? Especially when he mentioned it in SONA, dapat ang agencies umaksyon ayon sa utos ng Pangulo. And sinabi niya zero balance bill, dapat talagang zero balance bill. And so, me as the principal sponsor author, at least I'm very happy, Pinky, na at least nabigyan na ng prioridad ngayon yung UHC, no? It has been passed 2019, tapos nagkaroon ng COVID, medyo nagkaroon ng setback, you know. As I mentioned, it's a very ambitious measure, but you know, if we really put if we prioritize it again, it's a 10-year program naman actually.
Okay, but here's the thing: do you feel a need to amend the universal healthcare law? Why? Two things. Yung kinikita po supposed to be sa sweetened drinks, etc., a certain percentage of that should actually go to the universal healthcare.
That is by law. Tax law. Yes.
Right. So yung SIN nandyan po.
Earmarked. It's earmarked for the UHC, for the universal healthcare.
And then, ang nangyari po, we know last year, it's very, very controversial, which called for oral arguments. Here's the thing, sir. You're asking for 74.4 billion as supplemental budget, when we both know that government was going to take out 89.9 billion from PhilHealth and move it to the National Treasury, di ba? That was supposed to be 3 tranches, 2 tranche po yung natuloy, napunta po yung perang yon sa National Treasury, yung third pinigil po ng Korte Suprema via TRO. So, more or less, magkano po ang napunta sa National Treasury? If I'm not mistaken, 50 or 60 billion.
That's correct.
More or less, no?
Yes.
So kayo po, hindi ho ba parang hinihingi nyo lang yung kinuha naman?
Well, actually, Pinky, i-compute, galing mo mag-computer. Actually, to put an end to that controversial issue, ay, sabi ko nga, suntok sa buwan to. Hopefully, kung maibalik natin to, at least it will already address the issue that, you know, we took, what was intended for PhilHealth. At least, we will be able to give it back through the supplemental budget, no? For this year. Because the logic last time, you know, in budgeting kasi, if there is a reserve fund, that's idle, talagang tinitignan yan so that it can be used for other priority programs.
I understand that.
Yes.
But then there's that other component, and I know you share this
Yes.
because we've talked about this in the past, that if there was that surplus or extra money,
Yes.
no matter how you call it,
Yes.
that could have been used
Yes.
to expand
That is
the
correct.
coverage or tell the direct contributors such as us, oh, you have a 6-month
Yes.
Hindi kayo papabayarin ng 6
And-
6 na buwan dahil may extra tayong pera.
That
It's
is correct.
exactly what SSS is doing.
That is correct. And I'm not, in any budget season, Piggy, last year, since I defended the OTR, tinignan ko naman doon yung mga priority programs that was lodged in the unprogrammed funds the previous budget. Nilaban ko mabalik siya sa program kasi nga priority yung mga foreign assisted. So, win some, lose some. Of course, in the budget season, it doesn't mean you agree with everything. I was not happy, to tell you frankly, because I'm the sponsor also of universal healthcare. I didn't want that, no? So, I was happy naman that, I was able to fight for yung foreign assisted to be lodged in the program. So, hopefully, Pinky, with the supplemental budget, at least that issue if this gets approved, it will be put into rest kasi we will be giving back to PhilHealth what is due to them.
Darating ho kaya tayo, Senator, doon sa pagkakataon na pag tayo po yung na-ospital, of course, alam naman natin, two components here, direct contributors and indirect contributors. We understand that direct contributors, such as us, would carry on and kind of help and cover the indirect contributors together with a budget coming from the government. Kailan ho kaya darating yung panahon na alam naman natin yung babayaran po natin sa ospital, mas malaki po ang sasaluhin ng PhilHealth?
Well, I'm hoping, Pinky, now I'm optimistic also with the new PhilHealth president, si Dr. Mercado. He's a doctor, he's a public health practitioner. And we talked already, no? When he was appointed, within a few days, he saw me already. And I think he understands what the intent of the universal healthcare law is, no? That is to lower the out-of-pocket expense of every Filipino. Meaning, dapat yung participation ng PhilHealth in every hospital billing has to increase. Hindi pwede yung ginawa nung past administration under Ledesma, nung dating presidente, na parang he treated PhilHealth as if it were a private institution na, alam mo naman sa insurance, Pinky, kung makakatakas ka sa liability, tataas yung iyong income,
talaga.
no? Yung savings mo, mas pagmamalaki. And they were so proud of the reserve funds of PhilHealth, of the savings. Hindi ka dapat maging proud. In government agencies, pag may pera ka, especially for social services,
Gamitin
health,
mo.
dapat gamitin mo. And I made that clear to Dr. Mercado. They should have adjusted the case rates long before, no? So that by now, dapat ang Pilipino ngayon nararamdaman na pag nagkasakit sila, halimbawa 100,000 po yung billing, kung 30,000 sinagot ng PhilHealth, 40 or 50,000, you feel good na.
Yeah.
Siyempre sasabihin, uy, at least yung pamilya, kahit papaano ramdam namin yung PhilHealth, yung gobyerno andyan. Yeah, that's just our
Actually,
intention.
ramdam mo yung balik sa'yo nung kinontribute
Nung
mo.
Ang
di ba?
nakakalungkot, Vicky, that the sad part about this, there are some instances na yung pong contribution nila, halimbawa, through the years, may 200, 300,000 na. Tapos sasagutin ng PhilHealth, 8,000 lang minsan. No? So, that is not our intent. No? And hopefully, I filed a resolution.
What can you do about that?
I filed a resolution actually, Pinky, that to convene the oversight committee on the implementation of the universal healthcare law. So at least now, we will see saan ba tayo nagkulang, saan tayo nagkamali, where was we short-handed or saan yung shortfall. So yung flaws so that we can correct it, no?
Okay.
Hopefully soon, by August. So at
Oversight
least,
committee, yeah.
Hopefully sabi ko,
Please
itong
give
next
us an
2 or 3
update,
years. Yes.
Senator, kapag matuloy po ito. Just to bring
Yes.
this in, is it true that there is a DOH undersecretary that was appointed that you were quite unhappy with?
Oh, yes. I am worried, Pinky, that a lot of the undersecretaries in the DOH, and a lot more, hindi lang under USEX, ASEX directors, who we've worked with, no, through the years while we were drafting and until the passage of universal healthcare law, are not there anymore, to our
what's
surprise.
going on?
Sila
That's
Secretary Vergere.
Vergere.
He became acting secretary for a year, tsaka she was the voice of
During COVID.
During COVID, di ba? And
So
Yusek
tell us, what's
Berhere,
going on?
Bravo, some more. Some more. Ang worry ko, my concern, Pinky, is what will happen to the institutional memory. So we will be dealing with new, we will be dealing with new officials again, no? I see Yusek Colango, nothing against him. Randy Escolango, he came from the
Dole.
DSUD, Dole, Department of Housing, now DOH. He's a lawyer. Not to undermine, but what we need for the implementation of a very important program, that universal healthcare, is institutional memory. Kailangan natin the public health practitioners and those who knew about this program from the start. Kung naubos na yung mga USECs that were there when we were working with them, Asek Beverly, I can name a lot And there's a list, no? I don't have it with me right now. But that is my worry right now. Ano na mangyayari? Because all of these people, career officials at that, were replaced.
That's what I wanted to ask. Do you know what happened? Or are you going to look into this? Because indeed they are career officials.
I think we have to look into this, Pinky. But I was able to get hold of some memo from the executive secretary stating that the term of Yusek Verhere already expired. And she's only 56. From what I know, she is civil service eligible. Seso siya. And that's what we want to find out. Why she was
Di ba maaalis ka lang, I mean, you are bound to leave because you are retiring. Di ba? Ganun yun.
Exactly.
So, there has to be grounds, to terminate your...
Parang yung memo, I just saw it I was able to glance with it. And I think yung kanyang seso was not yet approved na talagang for her level not to be replaced.
I see.
But still, we have to look for it.
So do you think that...
I'm really worried.
But what is going on? Is it may mga nag-aaway doon? May politika doon? Anong...
That we have to find out. I really do not understand yet.
All right.
I'm just concerned about it.
Understandably.
Yes.
Quickly, other than PhilHealth, ang dami ho kasi nung mga bills that were passed by, the 24 senators. What is your next priority also?
Pinky, that aside from the universal healthcare, one issue or advocacy that's close to my heart is infra development. No, right now, the president just this morning said that we have to shift from a car-centric society to a mass transit, which I've been talking about for so long. And now, aside from infrastructure, aside from railway system, the transport, yung pong flooding, has been a very hot issue lately. Kasi nga, pinag-chop daw yung flood control program. We have to follow a master plan. Yeah. So the very first bill that I filed is the comprehensive master plan for infrastructure development that, presidents may come and go. They will look at their programs for 6 years, 3 years, yung mga local. But yung infra kasi, Pinky, needs long-term planning and execution.
Hindi nga kaya ng isang presidente yan
Yeah. So, ang logical, ang ko ron, rational, if it gets passed, na whoever sits as president, he may have their own pet projects or programs, but infrastructure development, yung railways, airports, ports, floodways, itong mga flood mitigation, power plants has to continue.
Dapat yun na yung susundan na blueprint.
Yes.
Sino man ang maging Pangulo.
Yes.
All right. So there's still a lot that will happen in the Senate because of the various bills passed. No? So we await that. Senator JV Ejercito, thank you so much for your time. Thank you and happy weekend. That's On Point. Join us again on Monday, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.